Hi, I'm Mike Horton. I'm the project creator of GEODNET. GEODNET is a precise positioning network used for physical AI. It allows you to achieve centimeter accurate, absolute position accuracy, which is kind of a foundational infrastructure for both robotics and drones. It consists of 22,000 plus geospatial base stations that have been put up through the deep-end tokenized model across the across the globe, including the United States, Europe, India, Middle East, and South America.
So do you think that this explosive demand is ultimately bearish or bullish for decentralized compute marketplaces, and why?
I'm a big bull on decentralized compute, but I think you got to start back kind of for first principles on what business are you going after, who's your customer, and it is not necessarily that decentralized compute means you're going to compete head-to-head with AWS Cloud. That is maybe not the right business play, and that might be some of the challenges in the first few iterations that have come up. But compute is all around us, and compute and AI is technology today. That is the market today. And we're particularly excited about the decentralized compute in robots and in drones, because we think these are incredibly explosive components of physical AI. Drones alone, Barclays just came out with a market forecast about a month ago, citing the drone market being about 30 billion-ish today, with a growth prospect of 250 billion by 2035. And so that kind of incredible growth, I think, presents enormous opportunity for decentralized tech. To drones and robots, there is new physical infrastructure requirements, just like sort of Austin was talking about using fiber in new ways to create connectivity between data centers. We're creating localization and positioning services that can really provide fundamental intelligence for these robots. They can see and observe the world around them, and they can memorize everything. Spatial intelligence, which is at the core of what we do, is really like a spatial memory. I see things, I observe things now, I memorize them, I can share them with another robot, I can swarm these things. That's the kind of physical, decentralized compute that we think is going to be super successful in the years to come.
We still haven't seen any true state-of-the-art frontier models trained on decentralized compute networks. So I would love to hear, Austin and Mike, your take as well. What kind of improvements do we need, both on the technical as well as on the economic front, in order to have frontier models be trained on decentralized compute networks?
Yeah, to echo what Austin said, I think for training a frontier model from scratch, the electricity problem probably doesn't lend itself well to what we think of today as decentralized compute. Now there may be future iterations of it through tokenization that do work very well in building open models that are frontier scale, nuclear fusion type projects that leverage tokens and blockchain in a different way to help make those happen. But I think there's tremendous opportunity in edge inference and training submodels. When you think about what you're going to load onto a drone, you're not going to be able to put a full frontier model on there. So there's localization, there's regulatory concerns, on-prem type of things where certain data can't go back and you want your localized version. All of those are, I think, excellent opportunities in the decentralized compute world today.
So shifting gears a bit from training to agents, would you agree or disagree that today's decentralized tech is ready to support agentic workflow, production-ready agentic workflows?
Yes, I would. I'm a big believer in that. I think AI agents are coming all over the place. A lot of opportunity for crypto, a lot of opportunity for deep in this marketplace. I think that's pretty obvious from my point of view. Big bull on that. I mean, you got to be exhausted by all the apps and all the UIs and everyone needing a certain way. I mean, the thought of having agents take care of this stuff for us, nothing gets me more excited. I want agents doing my day work for me. I want robots doing my blue-collar work for me. That is the future. And I think crypto is going to play a huge role in that because everything's got to be fed. It's got to be, infrastructure's got to be built, agents got to be paid. It takes compute. This is just a huge, huge opportunity. And it's really exciting. I think it's going to change our lives tremendously for the better. And it's just really, I think it's months, not years.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, let's shift a bit from the big picture conversation and talk a bit more on your real world learnings. So we'd love to hear, in the last couple of years, what were your hardest lessons, both on the technical as well as on the economic front, by building infra that supports decentralized compute workloads? Maybe.
Yeah, I think that Web3 is a very dynamic space, and I think the biggest learning for me has been that, unfortunately, like fundamentals and real-world applications is still pretty new, and it's not necessarily really what is valued in Web3 yet. It's still extremely narrative-driven. So when you look at something like our technology is used by tens of thousands of farmers worldwide. It makes a real difference in their lives. They're paying $400 a year to get precision location services instead of 4,000 plus before. They're able to deploy and control infrastructure on their own. It's been a really transformational change. It's not something that's easy to sort of share with the Web3 community that's very trading focused and very focused on sort of like FOMO and what's next. And I think that's something that has been a lesson for me, is just this is a marketplace still that's very driven by kind of financial services and financial trading. I think in the end, blockchain is an incredibly useful technology that's going to empower things that are much bigger than just the sort of financial services market, but it's still very early. And I think AI, physical AI, decentralized AI, these are going to be the things that actually exceed and eclipse what's been done in terms of powering financial services, but it's just very early. And I think it's hard to understand how to communicate that, how to build excitement around something that's maybe still a few years out is really one of the big challenges that I've kind of learned in the space. I think Web 2 gets it. They're much further ahead. You look at businesses like Physical Intelligence, tremendous success, capital raising and tremendous sort of business traction already. But Web 3 is just very kind of, I hate to say it, narrowly focused on sort of what token going to go up tomorrow. And that doesn't work well in the real world and physical AI. It just doesn't mesh. And so that incongruence, something I'm still learning and trying to understand how to better impedance match those two capabilities together. At the same time, deploying geospatial infrastructure around the world, you would never be able to do it without Web3. It's people have been trying forever to be able to get 22,000 stations up in a couple of years. It's just, that's the power. So there's a great capability in Web3 and decentralized technique. There's still some misunderstanding in like what the financial future is for the technology as well.
How does success look for decentralized compute in 5 to 10 years?
The future I always look to with the decentralized AI, decentralized compute is really today we all have a bunch of iPhones, iWatches, their family's got a whole collection of them. The future for me in this world is you have 5 or 10 robots running around your home, you got a robotic car, you've got a couple drones guarding your house. This is really the future where you've got a collection of these physical AI agents that are working for you that physically, embodied AI. I think that's the big future.
Thanks so much, everyone. We are over time. If you guys have questions, we will be around here on the side. And have a great day.
GEODNET. Mind the sky.